Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Vamos a dar comienzo al acto de inauguración del curso de detección precoz del cáncer oral. Tiene la palabra, en primer lugar, el ilustrísimo señor presidente del Consejo General de Colegios de Odontólogos y Estomatólogos de España, el profesor doctor don Manuel Alfonso Villavigil.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'll try to be brief. This is an opening session, and the important things are coming afterwards. As President of the Council of Odontologists, I would like to make some public reflections, and although we are all aware of this, society should also be aware of them, and this event is also organized for society. Tobacco is a cancer-causing agent, and it accesses the body through the mouth. It is precisely in the mouth where tobacco has its harshest effects. We normally connect tobacco to cancer and to vascular problems, to a whole array of different diseases, but we forget, or society forgets, that the first signs of a problem with tobacco appear in the mouth. And society forgets that oral cancer is the 8th in the rank of the most severe conditions. So my duty here is to remind you of our role, the role that we should have as dentists in diagnosing any condition that issues from smoking. And we have to foster people stopping smoking. We have conducted a survey among many dentists, and most of them acknowledged the fact that they did not even ask their patients whether the patients are smokers or not. Obviously, you can see it by the smell, the breath, and the color of the teeth. However, the truth is that we should be aware of this issue to ask the patient if he or she is willing to quit smoking. And this would be a very efficient measure to start with. From our organization, the Association of Dentists of Spain, I recommend that we should help patients stop smoking. This should be one of our priorities. We're letting other professions, nonetheless important, of course, other doctors, psychologists, etc., who are leading this fight against smoking. But I think that as dentists, we should take the lead. And I insist, not only because of the cancer effect, but also due to other problems that smoking may cause, periodontal disease, poor prognosis for these pathologies, increased caries for dry mouth, I've mentioned cancer, then failed implants, etc., etc., etc. From our organization, we have tried to raise awareness among dentists and society that this is the role of the dentist too. And during this course, we're going to remind society once again and remind all of you that we have to be more proactive in promoting health with specific attention paid to the problem derived from smoking. In this kind of events that have a professional nature, the president of the Dentists' Council has to be political. My position is a political one. Some years ago, I had the great honor for the University of Santiago de Compostela to honor me with the award, the Santiago de Compostela Award, and some in the audience were wondering, why am I given a scientific award if you're just the president of the council? But people perhaps were forgetting that I'm also a chair professor. I have been so for more than 20 years, and many years ago I did receive many research awards. But for many years now, people just see my picture as a political position. But even though I have a political position, I still am a scientist, a doctor. As president, I wanted to claim once again that the council is acting towards the defense of professionals and also the rights of citizens in society. I'm sad to see how many colleagues criticize the council and the dentists' associations. I'm sad that we cannot communicate what we do so well, but we're not the only ones responsible for how many people are ignorant about this. I cannot take our magazine, our journal, to everyone's home and read it for them. Some people don't read the journal. I cannot force people to go to the assemblies. Perhaps only 1, 2, 3% of the dentists attend these assemblies. I could go on for hours. At the council, we are working to defend legislative aspects, professional aspects too. I can promise you with full guarantee that if we hadn't constantly been working hard for this, well, we would have denturism. Denturism is a profession that exists in some countries where, for the lack of dentists, or through a different approach to health, they let some professionals who are not even professionals the capacity to do some rehabilitation treatments in the mouth using contact prostheses that are removable. I can assure you that if we weren't working hard towards this, there would be some legislative aspects that would be very harmful for our profession. I can assure you, though some people doubt this, but from the council that I preside over, and back in the 1990s, we worked hard to achieve a status of numerus clausus, because there are so many dentists, and this is one of the greatest problems for our profession. We did a SWOT analysis some years ago, and in the SWOT analysis we found out that the cause of all the perverse effects that we know in our profession, all sorts of insurance schemes, franchises, it's all issuing from the excess of dentists, the surplus of dentists, and that's not because the council has allowed this. We are trying to prevent this. And more recently, we had a proposal, now that the community directive for professional qualifications is being changed. We have been lobbying for changes in the European legislation with respect to the diploma of dentist, be it an odontologist or whatever way you call it, is not just something that people to practice. It's not something that we intend to apply retroactively. It would be for the future. Why do we intend to do this? To compare what happened in medicine some 20 years ago. I think that the older people in the room will remember the demonstrations in Europe when Europe demanded that for public medicine, besides 6 years studying and the diploma, you would have to have some complementary information that in Spain was done in the form of a general practitioner. In those days, there were 30-something thousand doctors of medicine unemployed, and now we have a deficit. Why so? Well, we achieved that with the European directive. The Spanish government, aware that it could not provide jobs to all those GPs, convinced the universities and the regional governments and whomsoever that we could not just mass produce doctors, more doctors than the health system was capable of absorbing. So we managed to restrict the access of new doctors because they all had to assume the diploma of a GP. And if the public system could not train GPs, we would find some doctors whose diploma would be useless. Sorry. And my understanding is that if you have a diploma, a degree in dentistry, well, then you will have to start doing professional practice as assistants, similar to the way in which lawyers become eventually lawyers. It's not enough to have a degree in law. You also have to have professional qualification to act as a lawyer. So to have a proper practice as a dentist, you need more than just the degree. You need some qualifications and experience. And so we achieved this honoring the European directive. We don't do this in Spain. There are private universities that are graduating dentists for the whole of Europe. And we have an enormous amount of professionals who are unemployed, and they are absolutely frustrated. These are people that have cost the government a lot of money and also their families, and they're not going to have the opportunity to practice the profession because they do not have what it takes. These frustrated professionals, at the end of the day, will have no other alternative than to force unnecessary treatments into some patients. This is happening not only in Spain, but other countries of the EU, where there was also a surplus of dentists in the past. I remember in the United Kingdom many years ago, the National Health Service cut back the contribution in the public system, and this contribution was reduced by how many percent? Well, this translated into an increase of treatments. This is something that we don't do in Spain, apparently only, but in other countries too. And this is what we would like to warn the health authorities of. And mark my words, since 1996, when I met a Director General of Higher Education, Mr. Miranda, and when I told him that in Spain we had far more dentists than 1 per 3,500 recommended by the WHO, he said, "Do you know how many lawyers there are in Spain? 1 for every 200 inhabitants." So let's change the topic and we'll feel better. Anyway, having said this, since 1996 we have been struggling for this. Recently, we find some professional associations where there are committees that speak about numerous clauses and as if that were reinventing the wheel. Unfortunately, young members of the associations think that we're not doing anything about this, and I'd like to guarantee you that we are. From the organizational structure, we're trying to defend the interests of our profession and fight against the problems. Another thing is if we are not being successful. I do not wish to give you a long speech on this issue, but I would like to give you one further idea. Recently, it has been fashionable to criticize the Council for a degree that it's going to implement. The dentist is specialized by the General Council. This has raised a conflict with some of the world of academia, with university. I'd like to explain it in black and white. We do not wish to create any degree to compete against anyone. We believe that there should be in Spain this title, a dentist specialized in whatever, in different specializations, because young dentists that also have masters, when they go to the EU, they cannot work in equal conditions with the nationals of other countries that have this title of specialist, that this degree of specialist that doesn't exist in Spain. That's why we think we need it. However, we're not going to allow. I've been the president for 18 years, and as long as I am the president, I promise you that we're not going to allow the title of, or the degree of specialized that requires paying 30, 40, or 50,000 euros. To be an oncologist or a rheumatologist or other specializations, you don't have to have that money and a chair professor friend at the university. I'm a chair professor at the university, and I cannot be suspicious of going against university, but I refuse to partake in this strange gathering of funding universities with strange degrees. At the council, we intend for specialized education and training to be done with official rates and fees, or through an internship system where the interns may be paid for the work they do. And to see whether the system is possible in a private environment, because, as you know, there is no such thing as dentistry in the private, in the public sphere. We have done what we think is closest to this specialized degree to test whether it's viable in the private sector to do some sort of internship. So this is a non-official degree. We are not deceiving anyone. It's similar to those non-official master's degrees. We are creating this own degree, and with this own degree, we want people to be properly trained, and charging some fee, but not something exaggerated. And we have offered this degree to universities under one condition, that 15% of their vacancies to be costed at the official rates. I reached the agreement with the president of the Conference of University Deans, but the promise that was made publicly was never honored. And so the university has opposed unanimously, with its vote against, after having committed its word, has been against the university participating. I'm glad, because some universities are not going to honor this fake commitment. I'm certain that some universities will go ahead with their official degrees connected to that of the council, with one commitment to train people for some 1,000 or 1,000+ euros a year, or even getting paid for their practice. This would be the same as an intern in other medical specializations would be receiving. So the council speaks in favor of the rights of the citizens and of the dentists, and we are not going to succumb to any of these forces, however strong it is, at least while I am president. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Profesor Villa.
Thank you very much, Professor Villa. The floor is now for the President of the Irish Dental Association, Dr. Connor.